And we are live. Actually, 7:32, Mr. Kirkpatrick. This is the best you have gotten us on time in a long time, Mr. Kirkpatrick. Right out of the gate. Listen, NFL draft tomorrow. I'm just going to start by this. What a sports week for myself before I get to you guys. Monday, off-season workouts start. I'm watching highlights of Russell Wilson on the field. I'm like, how much better could it be? How much better could it be? Tuesday night, the Brooklyn choke artist, biggest disappointments in NBA history, gets swept. What a week. What a week so far. And we got Melvin Gordon. This is an unbelievable week. I'll start with you, Mr. Rosen. How are you?
I'm doing well, very well. Listen, if anyone can't get excited for tomorrow, then you're not a football fan. And I have to say, my Mets are doing amazing. They are fantastic. Aside from today's game, we'll forget about that. But 6 straight series they've won. First place, amazing pitching, hitting. It's what can I say? Except I know it's early, so I'm gonna be very, very cautious. But hey, everything's good so far.
Mr. Carson.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Glad to be back with you guys. It's kind of a hectic week myself, Kurt. You know, you and your Yankees, a couple people on this panel are Yankee fans, and Aaron Boone had the audacity to intentionally walk Miguel Cabrera for his 3,000th hit, and Comerica Park did not like that. But then the next day he got the 3,000th hit, so I was happy I was able to witness that. And I'm ready for my Lions to see who they take at number 2 tomorrow. It should be awesome. Should be some fireworks, and I'm ready to roll.
Mr.
Can I just interject for one quick second and ask Carson a quick question?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, this is NFL draft, but in regards to Miggy, I was thinking about it. Do you think Miguel Cabrera is the most underrated superstar in baseball history?
Yeah, I think he's definitely up there. You talk about the guys that are kind of up in that elite company. There's only 7 guys that have 3,000 hits, 500 homers. He's about to hit 600 doubles as well. There's only one man in history for 3,000 hits, 500 homers, and a Triple Crown, and that's Miguel Cabrera. I know he's not the same guy as he once was back in 2013, 2014 when he won it in 2012, but I think he's definitely up there as arguably the greatest right-handed hitter of all time.
Eddie Murphy is saying good evening.
Evening.
Before I get to this, Kenny, is your mic on?
Yeah, I'm just muting it while you're talking.
I hear that. Do you hear that noise?
Yeah, I'm hearing it too, Kurt.
I hear like a garbage truck. Do you hear that garbage truck, Kenny?
What garbage truck is that, Kurt?
This. Something saying Brooklyn? Is that a garbage truck? I wonder if Eddie hears that garbage truck. Does Eddie hear that garbage? Mr. Kirkpatrick, take out the trash.
Oh,
I hear a garbage.
Great.
I keep hearing a garbage truck here. Mr. Kirkpatrick, what's your thoughts on the garbage truck and how's your week starting?
Well, my week has started good. I'm not going to get into the Brooklyn. We're in an NFL draft show. I'll just say one thing only about the Nets. My opinion, worst trade NBA history that I have seen. You trade James Harden for Seth Curry, basically, because Ben Simmons didn't even touch the court this year. That's the worst trade in NBA history, and it showed that you got swept. But I'm having a great week. I'm looking forward to the draft tomorrow. Spend it with Mr. Siciliano, and we'll have a nice little draft party, hopefully, and celebrate our 2 Giants picks. So
Eddie's being funny, saying I hear it after they just picked up the Knicks. We could get into that all night. Mr. Siciliano, I saved the best for last. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm a little disappointed. I don't see my name on the top 10 of this draft pick. So I guess I'm going to go the free agent route again.
Well, Quick hitters are not over, Mr. Siciliano. That's all I will say. Quick hitters aren't over. Eddie is coming right after Kenny. Definitely not the worst trade in NBA history, Kenny. Shows you don't pay much attention, LOL. Matt Staffiero, what's up, gents? Hot take tonight. 4 quarterbacks going round 1. 3 in the top 15. We'll get into that in a second. Can I do these quick hitters while we have Mr. Carson on here first, Mr. Kirkpatrick?
We got Mr. Carson on to roughly 8 p.m., I'm guessing, Carson. Yep. Is that okay? All right.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We got some quick hitters, and then let's do a little Detroit Lions and NFC Central with you. We'll talk about the NFC Central.
All right. So let's just start. Let's start right out of the gate, okay? Eddie, Mr. Siciliano mentioned something. He didn't see his name. We're gonna do. I have 2 good funny ones. The funny one we're gonna start right out of the gate. You know, like on NBC, like football on Sunday Night Football, when they go on and they say like, you know, John Elway, Stanford. I want everybody to do an imitation of how you would, if you were Sis, how would you do your introduction of Sis? So my first one's gonna be Eddie the Butcher Siciliano, Bloomfield High School. Mr. Kirkpatrick, you're next.
I don't know if I could top that. I'll just go Sis from Bloomfield High School.
Okay, Carson, go ahead.
Sis, super indestructible Superman.
Paul Rosen.
Eduardo Siciliano, high school unknown.
Wait. See, with the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants have made a trade.
Well, and here we go, Sis.
For this guy right here.
Mr. Sis. Oh, wait, here we're going to put it up.
Did it not work?
I don't see it.
Oh, boy.
That's okay. Go ahead, Sis. Oh, wait, there we go.
There it is.
There he is. There he is. Look at that.
With the number 1 pick.
Now, Kenny, I want to ask you a quick question.
That's awesome.
If they said to you, Kenny, you're the fullback, and they want you to ISO block that guy, what would you say?
I quit.
Mr. Siciliano, you got the last shot. How would you do yourself, call yourself on NBC football? Boom. It's on you.
But the first pick of the 2002 draft from little tiny Seton Hall University, Mr. Edward McNasty Siciliano.
Oh, God. All right, here we go. Kenny, who will be the best quarterback in this draft?
Malik Willis.
I can't hear you.
Malik Willis.
Carson.
I'm going to say Kenny Pickett.
Paul. Did we lose Paul?
Kenny Pickett.
Mr. Sis.
Yeah, I'm going to say Kenny Pickett also.
All right, Kenny.
Well, we still got you on audio, but we lost your video for some reason. But your
Yeah,
audio is
I
still
know.
working.
Huh.
I don't know if you want to maybe set back up in the other room where you are, because it seems like you've been a little choppy in that room tonight for some reason.
All right, I can try.
Kenny.
It's okay. Whatever. As long as we got you on the audio, we're good. But I want to see the judge in person.
The Jets have picks 4 and 10. The Giants have picks 5 and 7. Will the Jets, the Giants, both or neither trade out of those spots? Kenny.
Neither.
Carson.
I'm going to say they stay put.
Paul.
I'm going to say Jets trade, Giants do not.
Sis.
They both stay pat.
Eddie Murphy saying Paul Rosen has the Knicks connection. Matt Staffiero saying
Oh,
neither.
God.
Staffiero's going neither. And Eddie's saying he thinks the Giants will trade the 7th. Next one, Carson. Will a quarterback go in the top 10?
No.
Kenny.
Just say yes.
Paul.
I think more than one. I think 2 at least.
Sis.
You're saying the top 10, right?
Yes.
I would say 1.
Okay. Kenny. Who is your favorite? Paul, Matt's saying 2. Who is your favorite wide receiver in this draft, Kenny?
This guy from Alabama, Jameson Williams.
I'm with
Jameson
you.
Williams.
Carson.
I think it's Chris Olave. He was a beast at Ohio State.
Paul.
Jameson Williams.
Sis.
Gotta stay with my Bama boy, Williams.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to do the waiting room and put you right back in the room, okay? Maybe that'll work.
Kenny, your mic, so you got to just make sure you
can't hear.
put your mic on.
Putting you in the waiting room for a second, Paul, and then we're going to put you right back in the room. That might work because I did that screen.
All right, Kenny, back to you. Will the Green Bay Packers finally take a wide receiver in the first round for Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Matt Staffiero saying Drake London's very underrated. Carson.
I think, yeah, they're not going to screw up what they did with Jordan Love 2 years ago.
Is Paul with us?
Lost Paul for a second.
Okay,
Should be coming back on.
Matt's saying yes. Sis, will the Packers take a receiver first round?
Yeah, I agree with Carson. I think they really have no choice. They have to.
All right. Kenny, Stingley Jr. or Sauce Gardner, better corner? Who would you take?
Gardner.
Carson.
Gardner, I think tomorrow, though, people are going to be shocked when Stingley goes ahead of him.
I'm with you, Carson. You know, I'm 100% with you. Again, SEC guy.
Mm-hmm.
Sis.
Yeah, I agree with you and Carson, and you just said it. SEC guy.
Okay. Kenny, does Steve Nash get fired for this debacle?
No.
Sis?
No.
Carson.
Nah, he'll be there again.
Matt's saying Stingley slides. And real quick, does any of these basketball series go 7, Kenny?
Yes.
Sis.
Grizzlies, Timberwolves.
Sis.
That's a hard one. I'm going to say no.
Carson.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kenny. I think Minnesota-Memphis has been a really good series. Minnesota has had multiple opportunities to be up 3-2, if not win the series by now, if they haven't blown those leads. So I would say, yeah, Game 7 for Minnesota-Memphis.
I'm gonna give you a second one that's gonna go 7. Philly, Toronto, and Toronto may even beat.
Yeah,
Philly.
Eddie just said Raptors are going to come back and win in 7. If that happens, listen, Doc Rivers, because they keep saying he's the king of like losing 3-1 series, he better pack his bags, and I don't know where he's going to go. But if it happens again to him, being up 3-0, come on. All right, Mr. Kirkpatrick, that's all I got. We got Carson. I know we want him to talk some drafts, so I don't want to waste up some time. I'll keep some for later.
Yeah, we got Carson for about 15 minutes. Awesome to have you on Wednesday night with us, Carson, since we're slowing down with some wagers during baseball season.
Yeah.
We got your Lions. You're a big Lions fan, for those who don't know you. And the NFC Central, you know, you got the Packers out there, you got the Vikings, and you got the Bears. They don't have any picks, thanks to giving us their pick as Giant fans. But let's do over the Lions first. Like, what do you think the Lions are going to do with their first 2? They got 2 picks in the first round, bookends, first and the 32nd. Obviously, let's do their second pick first, and then what you think they're going to look for later on in the first round. We'll start with that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I think last year, you know, top pick was kind of solidified. It was kind of a no-brainer with Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be interesting to see what the Jaguars do. Originally, it was Aiden Hutchinson was the favorite last week. Now Trayvon Walker's the favorite now for them. And we're going to have to wait and see what the Jaguars do because I think I could honestly see it go edge rusher, top 3 picks. And I would not be, like, upset as long as we get an edge rusher. It can be either Kayvon Thibodeau or it can be Hutchinson. Or if somehow miraculously Trayvon Walker doesn't go number 1 overall, he's like -300, I think, is the odds to go number 1. So I would we need an edge rusher desperately. I would not be upset if it was Kayvon. I think Kayvon is my guy if I had to pick one. You know, before the college football season started, he was projected to go number 1 overall. You know, Dan Campbell and his whole situation, you know, the rumors is he's not a Dan Campbell guy. is his head all there for football? He's thinking about other stuff. He's a business guy. So there's a little speculation with that. He's not showing what he can do at the combine, only did certain workouts. So I still think Kayvon's the guy. And then the whole buzz around town is, do you draft the local kid, Aiden Hutchinson? Went to Michigan, had a great career there. I think he could be an impact player as well. So I think definitely for second pick, the Lions are going to – I hope they go edge rusher. It's either edge rusher or they could pull the biggest shock and take Malik Willis. That's another option if they want to take their quarterback of the future. Goff is still kind of up in the air. He didn't really have the greatest year last year, but he didn't have anybody to throw the ball to either last year. So I think it's an edge rusher. I think my pick is Kayvon, but I would not be upset, though, if we take Aiden. And then 32-34 is really interesting. We're going to have to kind of see how the board lays out. I think, again, you go with another defensive option, either a linebacker or a safety, possibly even a wide receiver. This wide receiver class is loaded. I mean, this might be one of the best wide receiver classes in a long time. I mean, I think there's going to be 4 or 5, maybe even 6 guys selected in the first round. So we're going to have to wait and see how the board plays out. And then if we don't take Malik Willis in number 2, we could maybe take a quarterback. A lot of people around here are saying we could go for Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati, see how he can play as well. So I think if I were the Lions, I would like to see out to play either 2 defensive positions, an edge at 2, Kayvon, and then 32, get another solid either linebacker or safety. Or if the board's not looking out that great, if all the wide receivers are taken, maybe go with Desmond Ridder as well. 32-34 is kind of close back to back. The cool thing about 32 is you have that 5th-year player option. So if you were to take Desmond Ridder, you'd have that extra year on his contract to option him off as well. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I think Brad Holmes is in the right direction, and I think finally for the first time, the Lions actually have a GM.
A couple comments coming in. Sis, our good friend, Mr. Mataloni, saying Kansas City is going to win this year's draft. Eddie's asking, Matt is saying take Hutchinson if he's there too. Keep an eye on Carolina and Atlanta wanting to move up. Eddie is asking Carson, what are the chances Lions take a quarterback?
At what pick? 30?
I guess any of the picks he's asking.
I'd say number 2 pick would be maybe a 10% chance. 32, 34, I would bump it to 50%. I think it's a toss-up depending on how the board lays out. But I think 32, 34 is either a wide receiver or a linebacker, maybe even a safety. I would love Lewis Sign if he fell that far out of Georgia. I think he'd be great for the safety position, but I think I go more towards a better chance of either 32 or 34.
Matt's saying Sam Howell at 34. You like that or no?
He's under the radar. I think I would take Carson Strong over Howell. Or even Ridder. I think those 2 guys, if they're still on the board, maybe have a little bit more upside than Howell did. But Howell, before the end of this year, he was up there. He had a pretty good career at North Carolina. So again, the quarterback, it's Pickett and Willis, and again, they're both kind of like no one's really talking. I mean, they're talking about them, but they're not like, oh my gosh, we have to take this kid. So this quarterback class is kind of up in the air. But I think this is more of a defensive edge wide receiver class than there's a quarterback class this year.
Okay, Mr. Kirkpatrick.
Hey, Paul's having some technical difficulties over there. You with us, Paul?
Paul, hey.
You with us?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay.
I got another question for Carson. He's got about 10 minutes left with us. Give me your top 3 picks, Carson, like at number 2, like from 3 to 1. Like, who do you want? Who would be your top choice, and then your second choice? And I wish we wouldn't have taken him.
You mean like for the Lions, like if the 3 options, like
your top 3 picks at number 2.
Yeah, I would go Kayvon as my number 1, Aiden number 2. 3 is kind of still up in the air. 3, if you want to be really ballsy, I would go Malik 3. But I think it's Kayvon, Aiden, and then Malik Willis.
Sis, what do you got for Carson?
I think Carson nailed it because if Jacksonville doesn't take Kayvon, what are they going to do? They're going to take Hutchinson? I think they need an offensive lineman. So I think Carson's in the catbird seat right here with an edge rusher either way. You can't miss.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
I have a question.
Carson a question.
Yeah, it's interesting that you wanted Kayvon over Aiden. It's to me.
Yeah, and that's nothing against like me being a Michigan State fan and Aiden's from Michigan. I think Aiden has a lot of potential. I feel like there's something sneaky though about Kayvon that I feel like the Lions would overshoot instead of drafting with their head versus their heart. Because I feel like if Aiden's there on the board, ton of Michigan fans in this state are going to want to say, "Oh, let's get Aiden. He's our homeboy. He's our guy. He went to Michigan. You know, they can build a whole story around him, which I would not mind. I feel like Kayvon has a little bit more potential. He has that it factor. I really think he could be up to Von Miller potential. I know Aiden hasn't really gotten the Bosa comparison quite yet. I mean, I think he could, but again, especially with the Lions being in such a weird state right now, they're rebuilding. They have been rebuilding for 60 years. So again, it's I think Kayvon has a little bit more of that it factor than Aiden does, especially in the playoff game when he went up against Georgia's O-line. I mean, he could not get anything past that Georgia's offensive line. And then that line is pretty much every NFL team's offensive line. So I go Kayvon just a little bit more than Aiden.
I'm with you, Carson. I think Kayvon is going to be has the potential to be this year's Micah Parsons. Everybody's saying, "Oh, you know, his head isn't there." Well, Micah Parsons' head wasn't there last year, right? And look what he did with the Cowboys, turned that defense around. So I could clearly, that is my top defensive guy in this draft is Thibodeau, and I don't think we're going to get him, but I'd be ecstatic if he slips down to us and we can somehow get him. Kurt, what do you got for Carson?
If Willis is the number 2 pick, what's your reaction? Happy? Just downright?
You know, I would not honestly hate. I would love an edge rusher. Again, that's you build in the trenches. You get to the team's quarterback. The Lions don't have an edge rusher, but again, you want to go bold and go ballsy and try to take a chance on the franchise, you take Malik Willis. We're going to, I think, eventually have to draft the quarterback at some point. And if the Lions think that Malik Willis is that guy, build around him, you know, sit him behind Goff for a year and see what he can do. So I would not hate it. And I would like it because the Lions haven't taken any risks in their entire lifespan. So I would like it. I would like it, but I would not hate it either.
Okay.
I wouldn't be upset about it.
I'm going to shift gears real quick, and I'm going to go to the Packers since we said we were going to do NFC Central. Bears don't have a pick, so there's no reason to talk about them. And the Vikings, we think they're going to probably go like somebody in the secondary, you know. But what do you think the Packers are going to do? They got 2 picks.
You know, it's funny. I think the sleeper to win this division is the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers loaded up on Aaron Rodgers, and they lost a lot of pieces. You know, obviously the big one was Devontae Adams. You know, and especially with, you know, if Rodgers gets injured, you know, I don't see the Packers. He's a big part of their team. Obviously, their defense is still kind of rebuilding. Didn't have the greatest season last year with the defense, but yeah, I think the Vikings are going to be the sleeper team to win this division. I think the Packers, like we talked about earlier, they're going to probably go wide receiver because they just lost Devontae, so that's probably where they're going to go. I think Minnesota, I think their offense is really nice. You know, you got Dalvin Cook, they have their backup in Madison, they got Thielen, Jefferson, Kirk Cousins. He's not amazing, but he's not a bad quarterback either. I think they, like you said, Kenny, I think they go defensive player here, maybe a interior linebacker, maybe defensive end, or a secondary player as well. But I think the Vikings are the sleeper. I know, it's going to be the Packers. They win it every year. But if Rodgers goes down, I think Devontae Adams was a big part of why they won those division titles.
Awesome. Let's give Carson 3. Let's go quick hitter questions from real quick. anything. It could be anything about the NFL. It could be anything in general. And I'll start with Paul, and we'll go around. You can ask him anything. We're going to give him quick hitter questions before he rolls.
All right. NBA. Your final two in the NBA for the championship.
Wow. I think the West is so good. I think the East. I think the Heat are going to come out of the East. The Suns, man, I mean, the Pelicans might get them. I mean, I know they won last night, but the Pelicans somehow might force a game 7. So I don't, especially with Booker's health concern, I don't know if he's going to be back. I think it's going to be Warriors and Heat, and the Heat are going to win the finals.
Sis, you got a quick hitter question for Carson? Anything you can ask him.
Yes. When do you finish school? In May?
I've got 6 credit hours left, so I'm going to take one in the summer,
Nice.
and then probably in the fall, and then hopefully by Christmas this year I should be done.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yep.
Kurt, your quick hitter question for Carson.
My quick hitter question: if you could pick one, again, the Pistons are a very young team. If you could pick one guy in your dream scenario for the draft, this upcoming draft, who would you pick?
Jabari Smith, hands down. I think he's going to be a stud. I know a lot of people on Chet this year. Pistons had the 3rd worst record, one of those two situations. So if the Pistons can get the ping pong ball luck again, like we did last year, this class is loaded as well for the NBA this year. I would love Jabari Smith. I think him and Cade would fit perfectly together. I would not mind Jaden Ivey as well. Him and Cade would be a really solid backcourt. And then again, the center position's up in the air. We got Bagley. He's doing okay. But if Chet falls to us, I would not be opposed to Chet either. So I think it'd be Jabari, and then Ivy, and then Chet.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Eddie's saying Booker may be back for 6 or 7. I don't know. I heard Booker's going to be gone for a while. So I'm not sure. That's
I got a quick hitter question for Carson. It's Michigan State boy of his. I want to know where he thinks Kenneth Walker is going to get drafted and in what round.
Yeah, whoever gets Kenneth Walker is going to love him. I would love to see him on a contending team like the Bills, especially. Bills don't really have a running back. They've got, I think Singletary is his name, but I mean, he would be a great backup behind Singletary with the Bills offense. I think he's going to go mid to late 2nd round. Running back class isn't that deep this year. There's Breece Hall and Kenneth, but I'm telling you, man, whoever gets Kenneth Walker, you're gonna love him, man. He obviously Doak Walker Award winner at Michigan State, and he scored 5 touchdowns on our rival, which is crazy to do. And I think mid 2nd round, late 2nd round. I would love to see the Lions take him. I don't see it happening because we have Swift kind of covered with our running back position, but I'd love to see him on like the Bills or a contending team in the NFL.
Yeah, that kid's a baller, man. I agree.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Guys, got anything else for Carson? I want to definitely thank him for coming on tonight with us. You guys got anything else?
Carson.
Carson,
thank you, Carson. Good luck tomorrow.
Absolutely. What are you doing for the draft tomorrow? Are you doing a stream or are you watching?
Yeah, me and my friends are just hanging out watching the draft tomorrow.
Cool.
So I'll definitely let you guys know how it goes if there's any fireworks. But good luck to you guys as well. The Giants, I think they're gonna have a solid draft. Good luck to you, Kurt, with the Broncos. And I think it's gonna be an interesting draft tomorrow.
Awesome. And where can we find you tonight, Carson? And throughout the week.
Yeah, if you guys like casino content, you can find me on my Twitch live streams. Twitch, just search up Ticket Time. You'll find me over there. If you guys want to get the highlighted videos, you can search me up on YouTube, just Ticket Time, and you'll find me over there as well. We do live streams Monday, Wednesday, Saturdays, 8:30, and highlight videos on YouTube Tuesdays and Fridays at 4:30.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime you want to come on with us on Wednesdays, I'll throw the invite out to you. If you're available, you come on with us anytime.
For sure. Thanks for having me, guys. Take care,
everybody.
everybody.
Carson.
Have good luck tonight.
Take care, Carson. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Kenny,
see you guys.
Kenny, real quick, I want to get a comment in from Eddie, and this is true. He's saying, you keep talking about the Michigan State running back. He's saying you can never have enough running backs. So cannot
Absolutely.
have too
And,
many running backs.
I think I'm going to bring in our next guest, Kurt. He's part of our show now. We brought him on last week. For those who don't know, I'll let you do the introduction.
Okay.
Should going to join us in a second, and the scoop is I'll let you introduce the man.
There he is again. Welcome back, Ryan Scoop Woodhams. How are you, Ryan?
Thank you very much, Kurt. I'm doing well. How are y'all?
All right.
What's
We're
up,
pumped
Ryan?
up for the draft. I know you're pumped up. And I'm probably going to be quiet in this segment because this segment's going to be all about you guys, the NFC East, right, Kenny? So go ahead, take it away.
Well, Ryan, for those who don't know, is an Eagles fan. And, of course, Sis, Paul, and myself, we're Giants fans. So this half hour, I'll allow bashing of course of the Cowboys Redskins, but I'm not going to allow bashing of the Eagles and Giants.
Okay.
We can do all we want on the Cowboys Redskins, guys. But all joking aside, Ryan, you are. What was that, Paul?
I was going to say, if there's one thing we all can agree on, we all hate the Cowgirls.
That's
That
it.
is exactly true. That is exactly true.
Cowboys and Commanders. I keep saying Redskins still, and that'll always be in my head. But yeah, Ryan, you're an Eagles fan. Why don't we start with your Eagles? They made noise by having 3 picks in this draft, and then they made a trade with the Saints. So why don't you talk about that trade, and then we'll ask you a couple questions about the Eagles, and then we'll go to the Giants and the rest of the NFC East.
Sounds great. Yeah. No. So when I first got the alert about the Eagles Saints trade, I had the same reaction that I had when the Eagles traded with Miami last year, which is why did the other team do that? I think that it's a great move from Philly's vantage point. Obviously, this draft is considered to be more of a depth draft than a top-heavy star draft. So I believe that having an extra pick in the first round next year as opposed to this year, they also believe, I think that they give another year to Jalen Hurts at that position, at which point they'll have 2+ years under the position. And they can make a decision because, quarterbacks are now getting a shorter leash than ever. They can make a decision as to whether or not they believe that he's the guy going forward. And if not, they can go for one of the 2 top quarterbacks next year, hopefully Bryce Young from a bias standpoint. But the deal this year, they did it kind of an odd thing because they moved up and down at the same time because they moved up from one pick and kind of down from another. They had 15, 16, and 19. So they moved up in a sense, going from 19 to 18, but they also moved down, going from 16 to 18 in a sense. So it was a very odd deal, but one that once I got to break it down, I really liked it from the Philadelphia standpoint.
Kurt, why don't you, since you're not involved in this, why don't you run the segment how you want to ask us questions, maybe?
All right, I want to start with Ryan for one thing because, and you know what, I'll actually ask both of you guys because you're both in the same situation, right? Like, and I totally agree with Ryan where it's like short leash NFL quarterbacks and Jalen Hurts right now. You saw him get you to the playoffs, but then you watch that game from Tampa, and then it's like, all right, he's not gonna, is this where he's gonna take us? So I'll start with you, Paul. Okay, Daniel Jones, right? Like, is there any chance? Again, this quarterback class is not a great quarterback class this year. Next year's is already. You guys, Paul's boy, Sis's boy, Bryce Young. You got Stroud from Ohio State. You got more guys coming up. Paul, is there any chance in the world if somebody wants a quarterback and they say to you, I want picks 5 or 7, do you trade it, move back, but get another one for next year so you have more ammo if you say it's not Daniel Jones, I need a quarterback? Any chance you do that this year, or you're making your 2 picks this year?
Let me say this. If the Giants select a quarterback with either the 5th or the 7th pick, I'll be more shocked than when they took Daniel Jones. That's how crazy that would be to me. I don't see that at all.
Well, I don't mean taking the pick. I mean trading that pick so you get another number 1 for next year. Like you.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Yeah. Listen, I think if if they can trade down and get and secure a 2023 first round pick, I think they would do that in a heartbeat. I really think Shane is trying to do that. I think depending on what happens, those first four, even if the Giants make a selection at 5, I think they're going to really try and do something. Absolutely.
All right, Ryan, I'll answer the same question to you now. Even though you guys did that already, would you do it again? You know, if there's a quarterback, hey, Matt Corral, or the quarterbacks are going and somebody wants Corral, somebody wants, Ritter, and it's crazy. And they say, say a Seattle wants to jump you, or Detroit wants and says, hey, we'll give you another number 1 next year. Would you do it again and really be loading up for next year?
It's tough because I think that where Philly sits right now at 15 and 18, I think they can get even if they manipulate their picks a little bit and move up or down or whatever, I think that they can get some legitimate players this year at positions that they do need, because their needs are, pardon me, as I'll go into in a little bit, their needs are primarily either on defense or if wanting to add another wide receiver, and those are places where this draft is very solid. So I personally, unless they really feel like all the guys they have tabbed as first round talents are gone by that second first rounder, which is currently at 18, but I can see them moving back. I would have trouble doing that. But I do think that they'll explore moving back from 18, especially if they move up from 15. But whether I'd move back far enough to the point where I think a first round pick next year could be viable in the return, that I'm a little skeptical of, depending on how the board falls.
Okay, sis, same question for you. Any scenario at all where, whether it's your guys get taken before 5 and 7, would you at all trade that, especially number 7, trade down and accumulate people for next year, so just in case you need a quarterback? Any chance, you want to pick 5 and 7?
No, I want to pick 5, but I would definitely consider. I think the Giant management is probably looking at this. If Daniel Jones isn't the answer, and obviously we're going to find out again this year. He's going on his 3rd year, whatever. How can you not want Bryce Young next year at Alabama? To me, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I would trade 7, not 5th.
Okay. Kenny, same question for you.
Just nailed it. I'm right on board with him. I would keep 5, but I would think about trading 7. Remember, that pick from 7 is the Bears pick from last year. So Gettleman did one thing right. He got us the number 7 pick for this year. All joking aside, you move back, a team that's going to be desperate for a quarterback in this class, if that happens, in my opinion, these quarterbacks aren't as obviously as good as last year's crop, but you never know. They might pan out.
Right.
But those teams are not going to be contending for Super Bowls this year, most likely, if they're trading for a quarterback. So you make that trade and hope that that's a top 10 pick next year.
Yeah.
I agree,
top Kenny.
15 pick.
I agree.
You got 2 picks probably within the top 10 and top 15 again next year, and then you can make maneuvers for a Bryce Young, or I don't like the Ohio State quarterbacks, but Stroud, or there's some players out there next year you can maneuver around.
I'll come back to Ryan, then I'll go with the Giant guys. But I heard this week on the Keyshawn and Jay Williams, that show. I forgot who it was. It might have been Orlovsky or somebody's talking, and they were saying, Dallas isn't the favorite. They said if Philly can get one more wide receiver to pair with Devontae Smith, he said Philly is going to win the NFC East. Do you agree with Ryan? You need another receiver, and early in this draft, and 2, you could win the NFC East next year.
So 1, I agree with. I do believe they need another wide receiver, and I actually have my eye on somebody in particular, and I'll mention that once I get more into this, the NFC East breakdown that I have. But 2, yes, with an asterisk. Yes, I think that they can put themselves in position to win the NFC East, but they're not a WR2 away, in my opinion. I think that they need to really look at their cornerback slot. I want them to add a CB2 next to Darius Slay. And their defensive line that won the guys that are still there who helped win them the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, the only one who's still there is, the only ones who are still there are much older now. They've got Josh Sweat, who I really like on the younger side, but that is an old, aging defensive line that is not what it once was 4 years ago. So those are areas that I think additionally need to be added to early in the draft for me to be able to say, yes, I believe that they can legitimately win the NFC East next year, aside from a situation where things go catastrophically wrong for a couple of other teams.
Okay, and then I'll go with Paul on this one. Well, actually, no, I'm going to start with Sis on this because we were talking today, chatting today, and it looks like everybody, all the Giant fans want an offensive lineman and an edge rusher, right? Like that's what they're saying. However it is, that's what they want. But let me just throw a scenario by all you guys, and I'm going to start with Sis. Okay, obviously Neil's gonna fall, right? Because they're saying he's in the teens now. What is it? Just his shoulder? He messed up his shoulder, right?
Hip and knee.
Okay, hip and knee. Okay, so he's injured, so he's gonna go down. So just say your heart is set on cross, right? And it goes defense. Houston now throws a little curveball. They take the number one lineman off the board, whether it's Cross or the other, or the NC State. Was it NC State kid?
Yeah.
So
you got the Iowa kid too.
Is there a scenario though, Sis? And I'll ask Paul and Kenny the same question. Is there a scenario where you would say, why am I going to take the second lineman off the board when I can say I'm going to take the best we had Thibodeau as the best rusher. I take him and now I'll get somebody at 7. Then it goes, the other offensive linemen are there. And now you're looking at the board and saying, whether it's Hamilton, the kid from Florida State, and you go defense. Sis, is there any scenario, and would you be okay if they went defense, and didn't take an all lineman in the first round?
Well, then what we just talked about a few moments ago, that'll wipe out the theory with the 7th round pick, correct?
Right, so you're not taking an all lineman. You're going defensive player at 5, defensive player at 7. Would you be okay with that, or do you have to take a lineman 5th or 7th?
My own personal opinion as a Giant fan, they definitely need to take a lineman at 7. That's me. Whether it's a kid from North Carolina State, the kid from Iowa, or if this kid crosses off the board, that's another story. But yeah, they need somebody to block. They need a left tackle.
Kenny.
I agree with Sis again, but I would not be, the only way I would not be heartbroken is the wrong word to use, upset if they didn't take a lineman, is if it would be somebody like a Thibodeau and either a Sauce Gardner or a Derek Stingley are my two defensive guys that I'm getting. 2 of those 3, I would be okay, but I would want an offensive lineman as well. Any other scenario, or trade back, and then you get an offensive lineman like the Iowa kid and the defensive guy. That's another scenario. But at 5 and 7, you got to go offense and defense.
All right, Paul. Same question for you.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to go along with Sis and Kenny. I would be very angry, and actually, this should be a question that I thought up that you should ask us. Will Sis, Kenny, and Paul be angry after round 1 tomorrow? But I think they have to go offensive lineman, whether it's 5, whether it's 7. Okay, and I know Shane has talked about, and most teams do, best player available, but it would almost be like deja vu with Gettleman, where he talked about rebuilding the offensive line and then not doing it. I mean, if they don't do something to help Barkley, which obviously he will be there, Jones will be there, and what happens after next year, we don't know. But if they don't do something to help them at least this year, then I think this whole thing has to be blown up. So, they've got to get an offensive lineman, at least one of these 2 picks. And if it...
Okay, I'm sorry, Paul.
And if it's defense on the other one, whether it's an edge rusher or as you said, a defensive back or even Kyle Hamilton, I'd be very happy with that.
Okay, Keith Brugman, our good friend Keith from out in Colorado. Unless you think Carolina is taking your guy at 6, why not trade the 5th and get the value? Obviously, not trading the pick to someone who's going to take your guy either. I'll start with this one. I'll go around the horn. I'll come back to Ryan. You mentioned it before. All right, you're going to get another year of Jalen Hurts. What do you want to see? Whether again, just play on the field, wins, losses, how far you get. What do you want to see, Ryan, to where you're going to be confident and say, that's our guy going forward. Let's extend him. He's our quarterback for the next 4 years.
I think I actually liked what I saw from Jalen Hurts last year more than some Eagles fans did. That being said, I think that he needs to be more consistent with his downfield game. In this day and age, you're not going to win a lot of NFL games just by playing a short game offense and relying that heavily on your mobility. I think that it's great that he can do that. I think that's a huge asset against some defensive fronts and against some defenses. But I want to see, and that's why I have them or have on my list in terms of guys that I would target at wide receiver. Number 1, I have Jameson Williams, who's considered one of the best deep threats, if not the single best deep threat in this draft. I think if you put Hurts on the field behind the O-line that they have, that'll be healthy, and then put in the wide receiver spots, put Smith, Watkins, and then Jameson Williams, I think all of a sudden you've got an offensive sort of skill position group that will be formidable in the NFC.
Are you done with Rager? Is you ready to move on from him or no?
The way I see it, you go back to the old quote of the best ability is availability, and he'll go 6 weeks at a time without doing anything of note on offense, and then it's so bizarre. It reminds me of Greg Bird with the Yankees, to make a little baseball crossover. He'll do one thing that has everybody remembering why he was looked at the way that he was, and then he'll be missing in action for the next 5 months. So I think that I would look and see what they can get for him, and that actually reminds me of a Giants topic that I was going to talk about, but I'll wait for that. I'll wait for the cue to talk about that.
Okay, real quick, Sis, you're big on this. What do you need to see from Daniel Jones? Again, Daniel Jones is going to come and say, hey, pick up my option and extend me. And you know what, Mr. Siciliano? I'm a starting quarterback, so I want $30 to $33 million a year. What are you telling Mr. Daniel Jones? And what do you need to see from him to pay him this money?
Again, I think you're going to see right out of the gate the first 4 games where this kid is going to they're going to be 6-11 again or whatever. The first 4 games of the season will make or break this kid.
Paul, what about you?
It's funny. Ryan just used an expression I was going to say. The best ability is availability. And in 3 years, he has not stayed healthy. And I think Daniel Jones has to stay healthy the whole year. I think if they give him some of the offensive weapons, some of the offensive line, and have an opportunity to expand his ability to do some things on offense, he can do some things. I think he has some, at least, foundation talent, but the guy's never on the field. He's hurt too much. And maybe we're spoiled by Eli never missing a game by being injured. But that's the only way for me to see if this kid is the real deal. He's got to be around for 16, 17 games.
Eddie's saying it's cheaper to pick up his 5th-year option rather than him do good this year and then have to tag him. Kenny, what's your thoughts on Daniel Jones? What do you have to see to go forward?
The guys, they both nailed it, Paul and Sis. I don't have to really add much to it. Got to see him play a season. The reason why they got Tyrod Taylor, we said it last year, we need a backup quarterback because Daniel Jones can't stay healthy, 1. And 2, we don't know if he's the guy. So they got somebody that can step in. They did the job there. Now it's time, he's got the competition now. So we're going to see what we can get from Daniel Jones if there's anything there. But we got Ryan for a little bit longer. Why don't we start breaking down the NFC East with him?
Okay.
Kurt?
Yep.
We got. I think we should do it this way. What was that, Paul?
Kenny, I'm just gonna try and reset this because there's somebody. I'll be right back. Okay.
No problem.
I'll be in the on deck circle.
So why don't we do it this way,
thanks.
Ryan? Why don't we start with the Giants since they're up first at 5-7, and give us a breakdown. Maybe give us a little prediction who you think they're going to take, and then me and Sis, and if Paul comes back, we can agree or disagree. Respectfully agree or disagree with your pick there, and then we'll go Commanders, Eagles, and Cowboys. We'll break it down.
That's actually how I have it organized because of the order in which they're picking. So that's perfect for me. But as far as the Giants, I agree with everything that's been said. Supporting Daniel Jones has to be the the priority. They've got to make a major decision on his fifth-year option soon. The leadership has come out and basically admitted, I think the quote was, "We've done everything possible to screw up this kid," which, credit to them for at least acknowledging that. I think he has been limited in the support that he's gotten. And to be honest, I do think Daniel Jones is a talented player. I do think that he's got a higher ceiling than he's had the opportunity to reach. And this is from someone who, just as a rival fan has, I have the joke, what does Daniel Jones eat for breakfast before a game? And it's a Big Apple turnover.
That's good.
To go back to this, fifth overall, I look at what they need, and I do think it's an O tackle, and I think the best pick that they can make for that position is Charles Cross. I like the fact that he's one of the more crisp, I would say, pass protectors that's available in this draft. He only gave up 16 pressures in 21 in over 700 pass blocking snaps. He's gotten a lot of comparisons to Laramie Tunsil, being the fact that he's, prototypical, he's long, and he's got that projection as a left tackle. Andrew Thomas would, of course, move to right tackle, which is something that they've already said they're willing to explore. There is some risk there due to some rawness, especially with his run blocking technique, and he does give up room even without giving up sacks. But I think the reward is so high that I think that that's something that they can be willing to take a bet on at number 5. Number 7, I agree with what was said earlier. I would try to trade down for a defensive player, or perhaps this is not something that's been talked about as much, but perhaps a wide receiver. I know they're trying to move on from Kadarius Toney, who was apparently a Ferrari that Jason Garrett didn't know how to use. But I think that the Wink Martindale defense, if they do go on the defensive side, I'd expect to go with a man coverage DE or corner. If they stay, I can see them taking Stingley. If they move down, I can see Jermaine Johnson or Andrew Booth being picks.
I like it. I think the only thing I would not disagree, but the only thing I would maybe flip-flop is I think maybe that if it's Charles Cross, I think Cross, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, is going to be there at 7, where you don't know what's going to happen with the edge rushers or Sauce Gardner or Stingley if they're there. The Panthers may pull something silly out of their hat and make a trade, or who knows what they're going to do. But you really not much of a difference, like 5 and 7, because the Panthers are in the middle, but you never know.
That's definitely fair.
I really want Thibodeau. I hope, my wishful thinking is that he's there. That's my top guy. I know Sis's top guy is Evan Neal, but I would not be upset with Charles Cross because I'm hearing great things about him. He's an SEC guy. I hear, he's up there. So I think at 7, I would like Stingley or Sauce Gardner, because they just said Wink Martindale's, if Thibodeau and the top edge rushers are gone, I think I would go secondary with the offensive lineman because of Wink Martindale's aggressiveness, get that lockdown corner for years to come. We see what it's doing in Denver with Pat Surtain. Mr. Valenti, I had to throw a Bronco reference in there for you.
I love it.
Do you like, what do you think of what's your predictions?
Again, we could, all of us as fans can sit here and say, I want this guy, I want that guy. The bottom line, it's not up to us. It's up to the Giants. And I think you could speculate all night long. You're going to have to wait till tomorrow night. That's when when they start the bidding, as they say, in the war rooms, and these guys are making millions of dollars. So obviously Gettleman didn't get it done for us. Let's hopefully this guy can do it, man. I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they don't mess it up. That's really what I'm keeping my fingers crossed about.
Kenny, real quick, rapid fire from Keith. By the way, Mark is saying what's going on. Mark saying hello.
Well, real quick, Kurt, Joey Clams is in the waiting room. We'll bring him in about 10 minutes.
Okay. Real quick question for the Giant fans. Is there any player, Kenny, that would blow up your plans at 5 if they were available? Like a Walker, a Hutchinson, would that blow up your plans or?
Not really, because it's an edge rusher. And I'm hoping for Thibodeau at 5. So Thibodeau's my top guy over Walker and Hutchinson. Okay. So
not really for you.
For me, at 5, there's nobody that's going to break up my plans.
Sis, what about you? Anybody or not really?
No, again, not really, because if looking back on it, Jacksonville, they're not going to take an edge rusher. I don't think so. I think they need a lineman. Detroit's not going to take it. No, I'm wrong there. Detroit might take an edge rusher. Houston.
That's the wild card. Houston's the wild card.
You said that, yeah. You said that to me today, and I agree. Houston might go after the kid from Ohio State, the wide receiver.
No, I know they don't. Nobody knows what they're going to do.
Right, exactly. They might go after Wilson. That's going to be again. It's going to be interesting to sit in front of that TV tomorrow night. Again, we're all fans. We're all speculating. I get it, but
Kenny, real quick, I want to do this little wrap up real fast. Talking about the Cowboys, rumors today I saw that they want to move up. And they are significantly interested in a quote-unquote certain prospect. Ryan, the word is it might be a wide receiver. Would that scare you if they get, say, London, Williams from Alabama? Would that scare you as an Eagle fan if Dallas does move up and gets one of these stud receivers, especially if they slide down?
No, because I know Philly's looking to move up as well, and I believe that Philly has the capital. Philly's already got 2 picks higher than where the Cowboys are, and they have more capacity to make deals with, for example, the Panthers. Man, wouldn't that be a shame if the Eagles took the Giants guy 2 years in a row? But
yeah, that would be a disaster. Yeah, don't do me a favor. Don't bring that up.
I had to, but in all seriousness, I think that the Cowboys, they could obviously move up. The guys that I have listed here as potentially fits for them. I think that they're more likely to go a defensive player. I think that Jordan Davis or Nakobe Dean or even Devontae Wyatt are guys that I have that they could look at. But I just don't think that, any move that they could make wouldn't, I don't think, strike me as like, oh man, we're not going to get that guy. It's just not something that I foresee.
All right, Manny, our good friend Manny, Dallas Cowboy fan, Kenny is saying Dallas should go after an offensive lineman, going for the tackle that went to Cincinnati. Kenny, what's your thoughts on Dallas, real quick?
My thoughts are simple, Kurt. I know how you feel about him, and I feel very similar to him. They got the guy throwing him the ball that's not going to win a Super Bowl with them, in my opinion. So that they paid Mr. Prescott all that money. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. So you can get as many receivers as you want, but you need to – when push comes to shove, I don't think they're going to win the big game.
Manny's saying, be nice, Kenny, LOL. Says thoughts on Dallas.
Manny knows. Manny's feels the same way. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan.
He does. He does.
No disrespect to Manny. None at all. It's nothing personal. Dak Prescott. Thanks.
Listen.
Well, Manny agrees. Manny agrees with that.
I could sit here and all. You know what? And we'll get into this. We're going to see, though, now, because you know what? Because when we said this for 2 years, because you paid him this much money, you're going to lose a tackle. You can't pay him. You're going to lose Amari Cooper. I don't want to hear we don't have weapons for him because Aaron Rodgers wants $50 million. You know what? They lose Devontae Adams. You better make these guys good receivers, right? Same thing with Mahomes. Now you make all the money. We can't pay Tyreek Hill. You know what? Doesn't matter. We could put Kenny as a receiver. Make him good, Patrick Mahomes. That's what Dak Prescott has to do. So, and Manny's saying you're absolutely right. I feel the same way. Kenny, real quick, Ryan, anything with the, I keep saying the Redskins too, Coach Breslin's Commanders?
Oh, yeah, I want to get into the Commanders, Kurt, because that's my sneaky team in the NFC East. So I'd like to hear Ryan's comments on the Commanders.
They definitely are a team that I think, even if they're not formidable now, they're not far away from it. I think that they have 4 positions that I think that they'll be targeting, which is linebacker, wide receiver 2 to go behind McLaurin. I think they want to add to that interior, that offensive line, and I think that they do need to look at quarterback long term. I know that they got Carson Wentz, but from what I've seen myself, I'm skeptical that will be something that works. You already have seen 2 teams, including the supposedly best, the guy who can, listen to him best, or the guy that can work with him best, give up on him in back-to-back seasons. So I think that if they're looking at linebacker, I think that they can get a Devin Lloyd. If they were looking more at a wide receiver, I think both Wilson or Olave would be good fits for them. But there's somebody who, they kind of remind me of Denver last year, where I think that they have a lot of what they need already, and I think that a quarterback, that I don't think they're necessarily a quarterback away like people saw Denver as, but I do think that the right long-term quarterback is something that they really need to look at this year. I don't think it'll be at 11, but I do think it's something that they need to seriously look at in their first couple picks.
Eddie's saying Washington still needs a quarterback, just like you said, Ryan. Real quick, Keith and Manny both said this. Sis, Dak Prescott or Daniel Jones? Who are you taking?
On the Giants?
No, just better quarterback. Who would you rather have, Prescott or Daniel Jones?
Again, I was being facetious before. He doesn't stink, but he's an average quarterback. Truthfully, neither one of them.
Kenny, if you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, I don't know, Kurt, flip a coin. But one you're paying, what, $40 million. The other one you're paying $20. I'll pay the 20 with Daniel Jones.
You know what, Kenny? As crazy as it sounds, I'd rather pay the money you're paying Daniel Jones than give Prescott 40. What about you, Ryan? Are we crazy for saying that?
So it's tough because I do think both of them have limited ceilings. That being said, I know more of what I sound like Colin Cowherd when I say this, but I know what I'm getting more with Dak Prescott. While I do think that there's a ceiling that's yet to be reached with Daniel Jones, I don't know how close he can get to that. So I'm biting the bullet and I'm taking Dak.
Okay. Eddie's saying if you gave Daniel Jones Dak's O-line, he will have a great season. Kenny, agree or disagree with that?
I kind of agree, I guess, with that.
Sis, what do you agree or disagree with that from Eddie? If you gave him an O-line, Daniel Jones will look a lot better.
Again, much respect, Eddie. You can give them the old Green Bay Packers line, and it wouldn't make a difference.
Sis isn't sold on Daniel Jones. Anything else, Kenny, for Ryan?
Just what he's doing tomorrow for the draft, and what are your predictions? Who are the Eagles going to take, and are you going to be happy? Give us your predictions on the Eagles, real quick.
The Eagles are going to have to they're going to have to wildly bungle this for me to leave unhappy, to be honest. I think that if they stay, I'd like to see either Williams if they go wide receiver, or if they go corner, I'd like to see a McDuffie, just because I think that some of the other guys that I like more won't be available. If they do trade up from 15, which is something that we're hearing a lot about, Sauce and Tibbs would be guys that I would target, but I also would look at, Hamilton and Stingley if those guys are not available. I'd be happy with any one of those guys, any one of those 4. And then at 18, I think if they do trade down, I think that you're starting to look more at guys like Andrew Booth, George Pickens, Khair Alam, who's the defensive back, or Jalen Pitter. I think that those guys are, they all have that sort of bridge first round, second round kind of, where you have maybe a second round talent, but someone who can sneak into the first round. Those are guys that I could see being in the range if they slide down from 18. But from 15, I think my top 2 targets would definitely be Sauce and Thibodeau.
All right, my last one for Ryan is this. Is there one player that you would consider trading both picks to move up for one player?
Both picks to move for one player.
I mean, it's definitely going to cost you both. But is there one that's like, I don't believe he's here, or we can get him at, 10 with the Jets, but it's going to cost both picks? Who's the player, and would you do it?
Well, first and foremost, if I'm only moving up 5 spots, ain't no way I'm moving both 15 and 18. But if I'm going to move up to, let's say, 3 with Houston,
that's a good one. That's a good one, Houston. Right. Yeah. So you're moving way up.
Yeah, whom I know that they've had discussions with. I assume that they're around 13. But if, let's just say that for, sake of argument, let's say that they are 3. If I find out that Thibodeau, if I get intel that Thibodeau is not sliding out of the top 4 or the top 5, I would consider doing that for him. But there's no wide receiver or corner in this draft that I'm moving 2 first rounders to get up for. But I'm going to throw a wild card at y'all. I don't know if it'll cost 2 first rounders, but we've heard that Deebo Samuel is not someone that San Francisco is even willing to talk about. Mm-hmm. He's someone, I know he's been injury prone, but with what he can do on the field, he's someone that I'm seriously considering those 2 picks for if I can get a pick back. I'm not doing it clean. I'm going to need something back along with Deebo Samuel, but he is somebody who I'm at least talking. If San Francisco calls me tomorrow and I'm Howie Roseman and I say, hey, we'll give you this pick and Deebo Samuel for 15 and 18, I'm at least not immediately hanging up the phone.
Okay. Kenny, anything else for Paul? I'm sorry, anything else for Ryan?
All right. Thanks again for coming on. It's a pleasure having you on our show. Look forward to it each week. Hope you enjoy the draft somewhat. Don't want you to get our guys. I don't want you to steal anybody from us like you did last year. But all joking aside, enjoy the show, and we'll catch you next Wednesday, and we'll get back into some baseball talk next Wednesday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Ryan.
You guys have a great draft, and I hope that we get Jameson Williams.
Thank you, Ryan.
But
a couple things, Kenny, real quick. Coach Breslin, what's up, guys? And his comment with the one I asked Ryan. Coach B just answered this. He says, what's up, guys? Nobody is good enough to move up and give up picks for in this draft. Keith now is coming back saying that Thibodeau is my bust pick of the 2022 draft, Mr. Kirkpatrick.
I don't know about that. Parsons was the bust last year.
Who's the rock star on the show tonight?
But the last but not least guest of tonight has arrived. I'll let you introduce him, even though he doesn't need any introduction.
What introduction does he need? Mr. Joey Clams. He is the man, the myth, the legend. He's going to talk a little Jets. We've talked Giants. We haven't talked Jets with these 2 hot takes and picks. But remind me, Kenny, I want to ask you guys all a question that Ryan just mentioned about Jameson Winston. I want to ask Paul about that later. But Mr. Clams, what's going on?
Yeah, Paul should be calling you in any second.
What do you
Kurt.
say?
And Paul's going to be calling you, Kurt.
Okay. What is the word, Mr. Kirkpatrick? You can start wherever you want with Clamsy.
Well, Clams, for those who don't know, you're a big Jets fan. And just like the New York Giants, which get a lot of talk around here because Paul Rosen and myself are Giant fans, you and Mr. Beelan are Jets fans, but Mr. Beelan's missing in action. So let's get into some Jets talk with Joey Clams. You got 2 picks, number 4 and number 10. And what are your thoughts? What are the Jets' needs? Like, what do you think they're going to do? And are they going to screw the Giants?
Let me just say hello to you and Kurt and Luca Brasi up there and Paulie from the Boogie Down Bronx. How you doing? How you feeling? And let me say I want to pass somebody passed away close to the family from years ago, Andrew Russo. May he rest in peace. Bought me 8 creams by the candy store when we were kids and stuff. He was a good guy.
Rest in peace. May rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, so what's going on?
We
Not
do have
much.
Paul, by the way. We do have Paul via phone. Paul, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, with the Jets, they're sitting in the catbird seat right there with number 4 pick. I mean, there's a couple of guys that they're hot for. They're hot for the cornerback from Cincinnati. He moved up. He might be in the top 3 pick. The odds on him now is to go top 3 is minus like 140.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Joe, you were high on Cincinnati last year, and
Well, he's a shutdown corner. Yeah,
lockdown corner. Would you want defense at number 4, or would you want to start getting some offensive guys around Zach Wilson?
You got a defensive coach. This guy's a defensive coach. Last year you picked the quarterback first. Let this guy pick his defense. Give him his pick. If Tittlebow's there, you got to take him. And if he's not there and the cornerback is there, you got to take him.
Hey, you know what's good though, Joe? Because Kenny just mentioned Sauce Gardner. Sis, you're gonna love this one. You know what? At least what we saw from that playoff game, we at least saw him be able to tackle. Since the defensive line and linebackers got blown out, he had to tackle everybody running the ball 9 yards.
There you go.
There you go, Sauce Gardner. Congratulations, be on the NFL.
There you go. Listen, he's a really respected guy from Vegas. And an ex-football player, Mike Pritchett, said he's the best player in the draft, pound for pound.
Coach Breslin is saying Jets O-line and D-line. That is what I would do. Get receivers in the second round. And Coach Breslin, the defensive guy, says, give me a pass rusher. That will help the corner.
Yeah, well, that's what we want, if Tittable's there. And another thing, too, I missed the end of when you were talking to Michigan State there. What's his name? Carson. Who did he say that he wanted for the Lions?
Thibodeau.
Oh, he wanted Thibodeau. Okay, because they're saying the Lions take the hometown kid Hutchinson, but I'm hearing now they don't want him.
So real quick, Joe, number 10 now. Okay, so we're gonna go defense number 4 with the Thibodeau or maybe Sauce Gardner, let's say. So now you come right back at number 10. And then after that, Paul, I know, has got a little segment for us, Kurt. Maybe he can do it over the phone.
Okay.
Right after that, and then we can do some prop bets to end the show. But 10, Joe, what do you think the Jets looking at 10?
Well, I'm hearing the wide receiver from USC because he's big, he's strong, and he's really athletic. He was a basketball player too, the kid London. But you know what? Like somebody just said, they commented, it wouldn't hurt to get another offensive tackle or a guard. You know what? It wouldn't hurt. And there's a few of them there. There's one that they really like. They really like this kid from Northern Iowa. He showed up at the Senior Bowl, and he was really physical, and he was dirty. They said he was really physical and dirty.
My last question for Joe, Kurt. Now we talked about the Giants possibly trading back at 7. Would you trade back if you're the Jets for more picks? If somebody's called up, say the Saints, they want to move up to get a quarterback. Are you trading back?
Yeah, because you still could get a lineman, and then probably there's a linebacker from Utah. That kid might be around that number, around 17, 18, in that around where the Eagles are and the Saints.
Because I think now, all joking aside, Kurt says the Jets are a more realistic spot for teams to start looking for a quarterback. Yeah. And now you're 10 and on the outside of number 10. As opposed to a top 10, top 5, top 7 pick with the Giants.
Yeah.
Number 10 is a little more realistic with these guys.
There's a proper quarterback prop out there that there's really a sharp guy. He took a shot, I guess, with his pizza money on Mills to be the first quarterback pick at plus 40 to 1, and he got him going second at 25 to 1. I don't know if you can find that now. I heard he's moving up. There's some steam on the North Carolina quarterback.
Okay.
Quick question, Joey. Quick question from Keith. He says, does the quick change in the wide receiver market this offseason raise the value of the wide receiver draftee? Like, people want Deebo Samuel, but they're going to have to pay him $25 million. Or do you just draft one early?
Yeah, but Deebo's an inside receiver, He's a guy that catches the ball and makes plays after the catch. That's what kind of receiver he is. If you're looking for a big, pure receiver, there's a couple in this draft, especially the kid London from USC.
Okay.
All right, I think Paul had a cool little segment for us. I think he could probably hear us, and we could probably hear him if he wants to do it.
Okay, Paul.
So I was wanting to find out if do you guys hear an echo, or is that just
I hear you're a little echoey, but we could try it.
okay? Anybody have any personal type of draft stories that you might want to share with the audience and us? Joey, I think you have some type of story.
I got one. I got one right now. I was a big Panther fan back when I was a kid. Tony Dorsett, Hugh Green, then Dan Marino, and I was sick as a dog when the Jets didn't take Dan Marino, and they let. I mean, everybody else did, but you know what? You pooped the bed on that one, man. Excuse my French, girls. That one was a bad one.
Yeah.
I mean, they drafted bad, but that one was one that bothered me because I wanted him bad. I was a Panther fan.
Right.
And you want Dan Marino, Italiano, how you doing? That was bad. That one hurt. That hurt. There's a lot of other drafts that get discussed in the man, but that one hurt.
My story would be for a good friend Michael Briggsy, Broncomania. Kurt and Briggs used to do a show from the Firehouse Restaurant in Garfield, New Jersey. I'll plug the Firehouse real quick. Great restaurant. And I came up to New Jersey and did the show with them. I was a guest on their show. And part of the segment was Kentucky Derby. The other part was there was a little soccer talk, and there was the NFL draft. And I was foaming at the mouth that we took Odell Beckham over Eric Ebron. I wanted the tight end so bad that I was actually foaming from the mouth. Who's this guy, Beckham? What are they doing? And then did my tone change, Kurt? Like
it did
when the season started. But now look at all jokes aside, now it turned out to be Beckham's head case. But he gave us a couple good years for sure, and I was definitely upset that we didn't take Eric Ebron, who turned out to be a bust for himself there.
Right.
Sis, any draft story?
Any draft story?
Yeah, anything like, anything you watched that you liked, you didn't like, especially Giant-wise and stuff, something you remember.
Yeah, Devontae Smith.
Oh!
Everybody keeps busting my chops with it, but it's all good. That really bothered me because we were right there, and you wouldn't think an NFL foe would do it to you, but then again, look who you're talking about.
Sis, you wanted him for months, man. Yep. Months.
You got to see, man. I literally went. I ran outside. I went berserk. I couldn't believe it. But Ryan's happy though. He ain't getting Williams. I can tell you that much.
Can you imagine? You got to go up against Williams and Devontae Smith for years. You'd be sick.
Yeah, really? That would be insane.
Mine, Paul. Real quick.
He's going to New England myself.
Go ahead.
Mine real quick, Paul. Listen, of course, Von Miller. I wanted Von Miller, but you guys are going to think I'm crazy. I was fired up the year we got Tim Tebow and Demaryius Thomas. Josh McDaniels, we did it. We went, we actually picked, rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas first. Then we traded up and we got Tebow. And I was excited about it. I mean, looking back now, like, whoa. I mean, listen, Demaryius Thomas was a stud, but the Tebow thing, that was one of them. And honestly, like last year, last year with all these rumors, Aaron Rodgers, the Broncos are finally going to make this trade. They're going to get it. And you're sitting there and you're just like, all right, it's not going to happen tonight. Just please don't take a quarterback at 9. Please don't take Justin Fields. Please don't take it. And we didn't. We got Surtain. It's like, and it lucks out. We get Russ, and all is well. So that's my story, Paul.
I remember being at your house with Tebow. Remember we were watching the game?
Yep.
You did it to us, boy.
Yeah.
Paul, I hope tomorrow, or when we do next week's show, I hope it's a good draft story when I watch it with Sis tomorrow, and it's not a bad story.
Yeah, I have I have a story that actually happened to me. I'll try and do a Reader's Digest version. 1980, I'm like 23 years old. I meet a guy at work in the city with the law firm that I work for. He tells me, you want to go to the NFL draft? And I'm thinking, who's this guy? He says, my father knows a lot of big people. I can get into the draft. I'm saying, okay. We go to the hotel, and I don't know if he pays off some guy, but hey, Joey, remember the scene in Goodfellas where Henry is taking Karen through the Copa kitchen?
Through the back of the Copacabana, through the basement in the kitchen.
Well, that's what this guy is doing. He's going all
Anthony,
the way around
front.
the
Give me the
hotel.
table in the front, Anthony.
He finally takes us to a room, and he says, "This is where the NFL draft is." All right, we're in suits and ties. I go into the side door. Sure enough, it's the NFL draft. Nobody stopped us. Not only do I walk into the room, I look up. I'm standing right behind the New York Giants table. At that time, they were still in ballrooms in the hotel. It wasn't like Radio City Music Hall. So I'm standing right behind when the Giants write the first round pick on the card. So I'm literally seeing that the Giants are about to hand in to Pete Rozelle, the commissioner at the time, a defensive back that they drafted, Mark Haynes, who was actually a pretty good player for the Giants for about 5-6 years, and actually went to Denver and played on that team in the late 80s until I think he actually played with them on the 86 team when we played in the Super Bowl 21. But I'm standing right behind them, which was the craziest thing to get in. But then to be standing out of all the 32 teams right in behind the Giants table was crazy.
That's crazy. That's a good story.
Yeah.
Kenny, do I have 1 minute? I want to throw a scenario out to Giant fans, and I'll ask Clams too. Can I 1 second, Kenny?
Absolutely.
All right. I heard this the other day on the radio, and I'm going to start this with Sis, okay? It was a guy where, whatever, it was the Anita Mark show on ESPN Radio, and Giant fan calls up and says, and Sis said it before, our offensive line stinks. He said, so I don't care how we do this, whether it's 5-7, 5 and we trade down to 12 and we get more picks. He said, I don't understand why if we take, he was saying Evan Neal or Cross, and then he said, all I keep hearing is there's a potential Hall of Fame center in this draft, Lindenbaum, that's out there. He said, so why do we got to take an edge rusher? He said, we have the Georgia tackle. Now we pick either Neal or Cross, and we get Lindenbaum, and we run the friggin' ball with Saquon Barkley. And you know what? Enough is enough. We're back to the old Giants. I don't care that it's too high to pick a center. If he's a Hall of Fame possible center, and I can get myself a right tackle, and we have Andrew Thomas, we're ready to roll. Kenny, I'll go with you first. Would you do that, or is there no way you're going to do that?
Would I do it? Yes. But there's no way, in my opinion, the Giants are going to do that because you have to protect your quarterback in today's NFL. And there we are talking about, Daniel Jones's, the offensive line being bad, and what's going to happen with these edge rushers. They're going to sack him 30 times this year, and he's going to fumble the ball 20. So would I do it? Yes, because Saquon Barkley is supposed to be your leader on your offense. But do I see the Giants doing it? Unfortunately, no.
Sis, would you do that? I know you're big on Lindenbaum, but would you take, or Lindenbaum, whatever his name is, would you take 2 offensive linemen and say, screw the edge rusher, but I'm fixing this problem right now for good, and I'm going to have one of the best offensive lines in 3 years.
Well, in that scenario, to be honest, it's a no-brainer because if you don't get somebody to block for Barkley, you're gonna get the same results you got out of him last year. Number one. Number two, if he doesn't jock it up and run the ball hard and not tiptoe, it doesn't matter who's blocking for him. But to answer your question, yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat.
You know what? I don't understand these people when it's like, oh my God, it's too high to take this center. But in the other tent, you're saying he's a can't miss, 15-time all pro center that could have be a Hall of Fame center. I just don't understand. Like, why can you take him at 16? Yeah. Why can you take him at 16, but you can't take him at 7? Like, Paul, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. And you know what comes to mind? Quentin Nelson. Everyone said, oh my God, you can't take a guard number 6 or even earlier. And look what kind of player he's been. So I agree with you guys. If this guy is there and they can take him, do it once and for all, build the offensive line, and maybe that's one less area that the Giants have to worry about.
And Eddie's saying, I would do it because we have that. If we have that offensive line, hopefully it keeps the defense off the field. Clams, is that a crazy call that this person make, or is that something the Giants should do? I mean, listen, offensive line.
Take your first 2 picks offensive line?
Offensive line.
You know what? That's a discussion because you could get a good defensive player that's available at the 5 pick, and you still could come back at 7 and get the center or another tackle if you wanted, and you could say we had a great first round. There's a stud defensive rushes out there, and I think you got to get them. But it is a discussion. I could get talked into it.
Right. I mean, you know what?
You give me a plan of what we could do on the defense. Show me where we could survive on the defense, and then you do it. But if you need that defensive player, you get him at 5 because at 7 you could get your offensive play also.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting because especially like the Giants need an offensive line. One, because like Kenny said, your franchise is Saquon Barkley, right? And then what Sis says is you're going to have to know in 4 games if Daniel Jones is the real deal or not. You're really not going to know if you don't give this kid a line. Like Paul said, fix it. Just fix it from going. Look at Dallas. Dallas had that offensive line. I could have handed the ball to Zeke Elliott. He's going to get, it's just crazy. So, I don't know. That was just my...
Maybe you trade the 7 pick back and, draft who you want at 5. So draft a player, that best play. If you want that center at 5 or that's what you do. Get him at 5 and then trade to 7.
Right.
And see if you can trade back and maybe trade back again. And maybe you get back into the first round, then you could get, one of those pieces there. There's still going to be good pieces over there.
Yeah.
I was watching an NFL show the other night with Sis, and they showed not only did Tristan Wirfs and Lindenbaum play together at Iowa, they were rivals in Iowa high school, and they were wrestlers. And Lindenbaum lost almost every match to Wirfs in a couple of years that they wrestled. But then his senior year, they showed, or junior year, he was a junior and Wirfs was a senior.
I saw that, Kenny. I saw that. Wirfs. He beat him.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
Kurt, I know it's 9 o'clock, but I want to try and, if we can go on for maybe 5 minutes, I want to do something with Joey Clams because we're Wits and Wagers too, and we're not doing a Wits and Wagers show.
Okay.
I got a couple fun little props for you, Joe, and I'll just do you. I'm not going to go to everybody, guys. I'll just get Joey's opinion. And I had a bunch written down, Kurt, but I'm only going to do a couple because I know we're just about out of time.
And I got a few that I want to throw out there to the audience.
Okay.
First pick, Jaguars. Trayvon Walker minus 300, Aiden Hutchinson plus 300. A couple other guys, Joe, but out of those, are you putting money on Hutchinson, or are you going to say Trayvon Walker is going to be the number 1 pick?
I think Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker is going to be the number 1 pick. So you think
that minus 300 is a safe bet? I don't know if that's a safe bet.
It's not safe. Believe me, it ain't safe because you never know what can happen.
Because I'm hearing, a lot of things there
I mean,
with that.
yeah, there's a lot of money moving around right now.
I'm going to skip the Lions. I'm going to skip the Texans. We're going to go to your Jets. Kayvon Thibodeau, they got it plus 300. Jermaine Johnson, 350. Icky Ekwonu, plus 400. Sauce Gardner, 450. Those are the top four, Joe. Who are you putting some pizza money on?
I'm going to go with Thibodeau.
I agree.
But I think they're going to grab Gardner.
Guys, if you want to look at a guy, listen to this guy. He's a Bronco guy, but he also covers NFL. His name is Benjamin Albright, and he has one of they do percentages of drafts. And mock came out today, but he was top 10 in the last 10 years of who had one of the best mocks, and he's up there. And he had the Jets taking Thibodeau.
3-1 odds. That's good odds. Giants at 5.
Thibodeau and Gardner ain't getting by the Jets or Giants.
And here's the Giants. Cross is the favorite, plus 175. Sauce Gardner behind them, plus 350. Icky Ekwonu, plus 400. Evan and Neal, plus 600. Then you got Thibodeau, 750. And Trayvon Walker, 1,100.
Hey, listen, I like the Thibodeau at plus 750 because if the Jets don't take him,
if the Jets take Sauce, then
yeah, they might take him, and then you know what? That's right there for the Giants. That's a good profit right there. You throw $10 on that. $75.
I'll throw one more team in there, and then we'll do our
real quick. Our good friend Kenny Douglas, hoping the Giants don't trade back. Take the best tackle, then take the best defensive player available.
Good point. Let's do the Panthers real quick, Joe. If it's a quarterback, Kenny Pickett, 250. Malik Willis, 600.
What, minus 250 or plus?
Plus 250.
What about the kid from North Carolina? Where they got?
He's even further down. You want to take a long shot there? You're talking about 25 to 1.
Somebody sharp took him at 40 to 1.
You're talking about
what 30, is he right
25.
Now?
He's about 35, 40 to 1.
Yeah. I'm hearing he's getting a lot of steam. That's the bet I'm giving out. That's what I was giving out. A little pizza money. He took him plus 40 to 1, and then he took him second quarterback pick at 25 to 1. So
my last two for you: the second Giants pick, and then we'll do the second Jets pick. At 7, Sauce Gardner, favorite, 300, put 3 to 1. Stingley right behind them, 3.5 to 1. Cross 5 to 1 or 500. Evan Neal 6 to 1 or 600. Thibodeau 700. Jermaine Johnson 700.
Well, didn't you just ask me this one about the Giants' second pick with Thibodeau?
This was number 5. Number 5. Now it's number 7.
Boy, I'm gonna go with Thibodeau again.
See, this is where I like Cross.
I'm gonna take my chances that they take him. If the Jets take
this is where I like Cross at 5 to 1, because at 5 you're getting him only at under 2 to 1. At 7 you're getting him at 5 to 1. I like it there. That's just my opinion. I like it. I like the better odds there at 7. Take a shot there if you like the Giants taking Cross.
The way I'm thinking, if the Jets go with Gardner, Thibodeau's going to go to the Giants, so you can grab him at 700 and 750. I'm taking a shot.
There you go. And the last one I'll give you, Joe, the Jets at 10. Jameson Williams 3 to 1. Garrett Wilson 4 to 1. Drake London 6 to 1. And then some defensive players: Jermaine Johnson 6 to 1. Stingley 6 to 1. Gardner 10 to 1.
Gardner won't be there, so I'm going to go with the wide receiver from USC.
London 6 to 1. That's nice.
Yeah.
I got one prop bet here for you. Combo bet: Sauce to the Jets or Giants minus 240. Do you like that?
Either one is minus 240.
Either one.
Wow. That's telling you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. You know what? I like that.
Okay,
I think one of them is going to get him.
Willis or Pickett will be a top 10 pick, minus 200.
No, they're not going to be in the top 10.
And my last one, Kayvon Thibodeau, top 5 pick, minus 125.
Yeah.
But see, now you don't take that bet.
I like that. Yeah, that's
but don't take that one. Take the Jets.
The,
take Thibodeau with the Jets and take Thibodeau for the people listening. Take Thibodeau with the Jets and Giants, and you'll get plus odds. Yeah. That was a little prop bets we had for Joey Clams, Kurt, for Woods and Wade.
Clams, you have anything else for us?
Yeah. Hutchinson, his pick is it's over 1.5. It's up to minus 180 now, but I think that's a pretty safe bet. I don't think he's going to be the first pick. So over 1.5 with Hutchinson from Michigan. That's that one, and the one with the quarterback I gave out 40-1. And what's the under and over on Stingley?
I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
Where do you like him?
I think they were going under 3.5. They saying that the Texans like him a lot.
See, I'm sold on the Jaguars taking an offensive lineman, and I'm looking at Evan Neal at 25-1 and Icky at 5-1. You got to protect your franchise quarterback that's there for the next 10 years.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Offensive-minded coach. I think that's a good bet at number 1 to go offensive lineman there.
Yeah, I agree with you. But what they've been hearing is that they want this freak of the kid from Georgia. They said he's a freak.
Guys, you know what hurts Jacksonville? And this is when you look at it and you're like, can you imagine if this was next year and Bryce Young was in this draft and they have Trevor Lawrence, right? They could pick, and they picked one. They could have, you know what they would get? They would just auction that.
They'd be kicking their door in.
Oh, they would
kicking their door in.
Kicking their door in. You know how many teams would be like, because they're not taking them, right? So it's like, who wants them? Best offer. What they would get for a franchise quarterback. It just stinks because no one's gonna move up to 1 to get any of these guys. Like Joey just said, he don't think anyone's gonna go top 10. So why move all the way up for that? But can you just imagine if there was a franchise quarterback, Jacksonville would clean up.
Hey, Kurt, unless somebody wants one of these, they're high on one of these linemen and they want to sell out for a defensive end or somebody like that they see. But, there's no quarterback there where you're trading all your first picks away for the next couple of years.
Yep.
And because that's when you want to get a quarterback, when you got a number 1 pick.
Jacksonville would have cleaned up.
Yeah.
That's why nobody like the Jets, even at 7 with the Giants, what are you going to get back for that? What are you getting back? Maybe the Jets might get something more at 10 than 7.
I agree.
Because, more value back. Because nobody's coming in at 7, I don't think.
Keith is saying that double up on the Jets in top 5 for Sauce, I'll have to look into. Good find, fellas. So.
Yeah. All right, boys. I think it's time for closing thoughts, Kurt.
Yeah, let's do final thoughts. Let's start with Paul.
Well, first of all, sorry about the technical difficulties tonight.
No biggie. It happens.
And after probably the craziest off-season that any of us have seen in NFL history, the draft tomorrow seems like it's going to be much more of that because nobody knows what's going on tomorrow. Usually we know who's number 1, number 2. We have no idea this year. But that's the most exciting part about this. And I think we're all going to be sitting on the edge of our seats tomorrow.
I will go next. Guys, enjoy the draft tomorrow night. My draft doesn't start until Friday, and I can't be friggin' happier. No more... Who should we take? Oh, are they going to take Willis? Are they going to get Pickett? Are we going to trade for Baker Mayfield? Nope. It's done. I don't have to worry about this garbage for 7 years, maybe 10 years. I could care less about the quarterbacks. I am pumped up, though, about the Broncos in Friday night starting draft 2. They just signed Melvin Gordon back, so the Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams is in. Hey, we are ready to roll. Paul, Kenny, hey, good luck. You guys, listen, you hit it tomorrow. You're right back in that. Listen, you have a shot to win the NFC East now. Same thing with you, Joey. 4-10, 2, you get ridiculous players over there, man. And Jameson Williams, I'm telling you, that's the guy. They're saying he could be Tyreek Hill. I know he's hurt, but sis, that's your boy. You were on him all year long. Whoever gets him, it's going to be a stud. And you guys better pray it's not Philly or Dallas. So Joey Clams, take him at 10, baby. That's mine. Joey Clams, your final thoughts.
I would, again, like piggybacking off of that, I hope that the Jets draft good, and I hope the Giants draft good, because you know what? This is terrible around here. The New York football in the last 10 years has been garbage. Probably maybe, less than that, but it's been garbage. I mean, every year is an excuse. Every year you can't get out of the gate. You're 0-5, 0-6, 1-7. Season's over by Halloween. Come on, let's go. Hope the draft picks work out. Let's build these teams. You got a chance now. You're picking 4 and you're picking 10. You're picking 5 and 7. Make it right. That's all. I want New York football back. And another thing, Kurt, I'm gonna be listening right to Vegas as soon as I get up in the morning. Any prop moves, I'm gonna send it to you. Put it up on the bulletin board for everybody to throw some pizza. I know Kenny likes to throw pizza money, Chinese money, everything.
Kenny's throwing all kinds of money on
yeah,
this stuff.
He's got everything. Ice cream. So we're gonna have to, get the props going tomorrow. Right? I'll send you the props that are moving, and maybe we can make some money.
Sounds good. Eddie Murphy saying his hot take: the Giants will not finish last in the division. LOL. Mr. Siciliano, final thoughts.
Yeah, we need to apologize to Mr. Briggs tonight. I know he's looking down. We pretty much got caught up with the NFL draft, and I'm sure him knowing us, it's all good. Joey Clams.
And you know what, though, sis, real quick, getting into that, with Briggs, me and Briggs always did like a draft special. We always did a draft. He loved the draft. He loved it. But knowing Briggs, if you said to him, are you happy today that we're not picking tomorrow and we got Russell Wilson?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Damn right.
And my last thing to Joey Clams is, if you ask her if she wants to go to the Olive Garden and she says yes, get rid of her. Drop her real fast. Good luck.
I don't even know what that place is, you said.
Good luck. Either do I. Good luck to everybody in the draft.
I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know Arios in Bay Ridge.
Take her to the zoo, Rock.
Mr. Kirkpatrick, as always, final thoughts.
Okay, my final thoughts first is, why don't we ask you a real quick Bronco Mania question? Who on Friday would you be happy with the Broncos targeting?
You know what I really want? Now running back's out of the question. We're not going to take a running back in 2. I wouldn't mind a running back that early to go with Javonte, but obviously Melvin Gordon's back. You know what I want, Kenny? A middle linebacker. And I want the kid.
Harris?
You know what? I like the kid.
The Kobe Dean may last to the second round.
Oh, my God. I mean, if that happens, I think Denver's going to trade up because they got 9 picks. They're not going to have 9 roster spots, Yeah. So I think they're going to trade up, maybe move up in the second round, middle linebacker. I like the kid Harris. They like the kid. What's his name? Is it Muma, the kid from the linebacker from Wyoming? I love him.
Okay.
Chad Mama from Wyoming.
Kid from Oklahoma, that's supposed to be good too.
Yeah, the kid from Oklahoma, and the kid from there's another kid from what school is that? I forgot. It's small school. Is it Alexander? I forgot the name of the kid, linebacker. I want a linebacker.
That's Central Florida, right?
No. I don't know. It's a real small school.
Okay. They're going to get some.
Oh, it's Troy Anderson. That's it. Anderson. That's the kid.
There's going to be a couple of good linebackers.
Montana State.
You're going to have some good players in the second round.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have a lot of good players.
Okay, I got one more prop I got. The running back from Iowa State is going to go to the Buffalo Bills.
First round?
Okay.
Yeah. Buffalo's going to take
Bryce
him.
Hall.
Yep, that's him. He can block. He's a 3-down back. He can catch. He can block. He could, he could do everything like the Rocky do. He can hit it. You can punch it, do anything, kick it, whatever you got to do to it. Because you know what? They're going to have the best record probably in the AFC, and you're going to have to run through Buffalo to get to the Super Bowl. And you know what? They needed a guy like that. When a running back can block for the quarterback that runs like that, it's going to open up their offense even more. So I think they're right there to win. That's what they need, a big running game. I think that's when you go in the first round, you take him and put your money on him that Buffalo takes him. See what the odds are on that.
There you go. And my final word is have a good night, everyone, and enjoy the draft tomorrow.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.